You know what your problem is?
I ain't got no problem, man. Don't tell me. Don't tell me what my problem is. I don't care about it.
The atmosphere on the set of Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta was tense. One of those days when everything felt a little too real, even for reality TV. The cameras were ready to catch the usual back and forth, but what happened next shocked everyone, from the cast to the crew. Scrappy and Khaotic were set to film a scene together. Tensions had been rising for weeks, and it was clear something was about to go down. Scrappy had been dealing with a lot: problems at home, relationship drama, and the constant stress of staying in the spotlight on a show that thrives on mess. But this time, it wasn't just about his personal life. It was about respect. Khaotic, the loud and bold newcomer, had been causing trouble since he joined the cast. He knew exactly how to get under people's skin. He'd been making jokes at Scrappy's expense, taking shots at his music, bringing up old mistakes, and constantly crossing the line. Scrappy had tried to stay calm, but the pressure was building. When filming began, Khaotic didn't waste any time. He came at Scrappy hard, throwing out slick comments and calling him out in front of everyone. "You've been on this show for years, but you still don't act like you've learned anything," he said with a smirk, clearly looking to start something. Scrappy tried to hold it in, but you could see it in his face. He was close to losing it. Then Khaotic went too far. "You're not that guy anymore. You're washed up, just pretending people still care," he said, full of attitude. That did it. Scrappy didn't think. He just reacted. His hand shot up and slapped Khaotic across the face, the sound echoing in the room. Everything stopped. Khaotic froze for a moment, shocked. But then, the look in his eyes changed, and he charged at Scrappy. Security rushed in before things got worse. The fight had officially broken out. Khaotic shouted, "You really think you can hit me and walk away?" Scrappy, breathing hard, snapped back, "You've been asking for this." What was supposed to be just another scene turned into one of the wildest moments the show had ever seen, and no one expected it to go that far. The atmosphere on the Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta set was filled with tension you could almost touch. Everything had come to a sudden halt. Cast and crew stood frozen, eyes locked on Scrappy and Khaotic as they glared at each other, their bodies held back by security. No one dared to speak above a whisper. The silence was only broken by heavy breathing and scattered voices trying to make sense of what had just happened. What began as a heated argument had turned into something much more serious. This wasn't just about a slap anymore. It was now about ego, dignity, and two men who refused to be the one to back down. Behind the scenes, producers quickly realized they had lost control of the moment. What was supposed to be a typical filming day had exploded into real-life conflict. Without hesitation, they called for a pause in filming. Crew members scrambled to pull the two men apart, trying to cool things down. Scrappy was taken one direction, Khaotic another. But even though the cameras kept rolling, the energy in the room had already shifted. Everyone felt it. This wasn't just for show anymore. For Scrappy, it wasn't simply about looking tough. This was personal. The disrespect he felt from Khaotic had been building for a while, and this moment was the last straw. In front of his wife Bambi and the rest of the cast, he wasn't about to let someone come at him like that. Khaotic's words had hit a nerve, and Scrappy wasn't the type to stay quiet when his pride, or his relationship, was being attacked. Bambi stood nearby, watching the scene unfold. She had heard every insult, every rude remark Khaotic had thrown. She felt her chest tighten with emotion. As Scrappy stood up for both of them, something shifted in her too. She'd always known he would protect her, but seeing him act on it with such intensity reminded her of the loyalty and fire that had brought them together in the first place. Khaotic, on the other hand, had built a reputation for being loud, bold, and unafraid to stir the pot. Since joining the show, he had made a habit of pushing buttons and picking fights. He lived for the spotlight and didn't shy away from confrontation. But this time, He underestimated just how far Scrappy was willing to go. The slap hit him hard, not just physically, but mentally too. He kept his smug expression, trying to act unbothered, but anyone paying attention could see the shock behind his eyes. This wasn't how he thought things would go. Around the room, reactions varied. Some of the cast looked shocked, not sure what to do next. Others exchanged glances, quietly nodding as if to say, it was only a matter of time. A few looked like they were silently glad someone had finally stood up to Khaotic, who had caused tension more than once. For Scrappy, this wasn't about being violent. It was about drawing the line. He had let things slide before, but this moment was different. It was his way of saying, you don't get to disrespect me or my family and think there won't be consequences. That slap spoke volumes, louder than anything he could have said in that moment. As things calmed down, the set didn't feel the same anymore. The energy had completely shifted. People were quieter, more cautious. Conversations were hushed. Even those who weren't involved in the altercation felt the weight of what had happened. Scrappy had changed the tone of the show with one action. The question on everyone's mind was the same. What now? Would Khaotic come back and try to one-up Scrappy? Would there be another confrontation? Or had he finally met someone who wouldn't let him cross the line? Whatever the answer, one thing was clear. Scrappy had set a new standard. He wasn't going to sit back and let anyone talk down to him, especially not in front of his wife or his fans. That moment wasn't just about a fight. It was about standing firm, showing that he wasn't afraid to defend what mattered to him, even if it meant facing backlash. As the day wrapped up, people slowly went back to work, but the atmosphere was still heavy. No one could forget what they had just witnessed. The cast knew that this one incident would change everything moving forward. Relationships would shift, loyalties would be tested, and whatever happened next, it was going to be intense. One thing was certain: the drama on Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta had just reached a whole new level, and the story was far from over.